Mukami Chege. I'm back for my second edition of Facebook Live video. Today, our topic is quite as exciting. Today we are talking about, is the past haunting your present and compromising your future? I was asking myself a question, Miriam or Mukami Chege, if you're given an opportunity to travel back to your history, to your past, and you're told that, in 10 minutes or in 20 minutes or in an hour, there'll be many people who will be coming to visit your life in the past and probably audit it. And you're given those 10 minutes, say an hour, to go back to your past and look at it before, you get that public audit. I guess I would run back and correct many things that I did not do well. I guess I'll be rushing to clean up probably some of the things that I've done that today I'm very embarrassed about. I would rush back and try to undo some of the things or decisions that I made, actions that I made that I'm not proud about. And I think that is the nature of life. That the past is checkered with some very nice and beautiful memories of places that we've been, people that we have met, achievements that we have achieved, be they, career in nature, rising through the ranks, things that we have done, promotions that we have received in our job places, marriages, children that we have raised, that are now growing and, they're at a good place and we are very excited. Thank you so much, Muigai Wasubukia, karibu sana. Our past is checkered with so many things that we have done well and we are very proud about. And probably we reminisce and we tell ourselves, those were very good old days. When we remember those achievements, great things that we did, hikes that we went, holidays, vacations, that we went with our loved ones, the laughter, all those things that give us joy and excitement, and they added more years into our life, if I may say that. But the truth of the matter is that there are also things that we have done in our lives that we are not so proud about. Things that we have done in our life that that if you're given a second chance, we probably would want to erase those parts as parts of our memory. Decisions that we have made that, did not really sit well with us. Probably we established businesses and they failed. And we were humiliated. I mean, people laughed at us. We were ridiculed. And those feelings are not good feelings. We went into marriages or relationships with a lot of enthusiasm, hoping that, things are going to work. But unfortunately, they never worked. Our marriages failed or relationships failed, and probably publicly so. And we were left there with mud on our faces, and, we were all embarrassed, and we wished the world would, the earth, as they say, would divide itself into two and we are swallowed in, because we were left at a very bad place. And sometimes life just happened. We lost our loved ones and we never recovered really, because those were people close to us, probably parents, those who have lost children. I wouldn't say I know what that really feels, but I know what it is to lose a father, for example, and that pain never leaves. You see it and you think of probably the things you'd want to be doing with that loved one, and you don't have an opportunity anymore because they are no longer there. The past sometimes is full of mistakes that we made, and those mistakes did not just happen. We probably made them and they left us with a lot of guilt. Things that we have done that maybe probably it's only us who know we have done them. Things that we are ashamed about, disappointed, and we have all these negative emotions about because, they did not sit very well. And they cause a lot of pain. Even the very remembrance of them, when you sit and recall some things that you have done in your life, some decisions, and the negative emotions that went into that, you're left at a place of no energy at all. And you feel probably those are parts of your experiences or history that you'd want even erased out of your life. And as we start thinking about what that past is doing to your present, is it haunting? When you talk about haunting, we are talking about something that keeps, ruminating, like the way a cow would feed on grass and then it goes into the stomach, then it comes back for a second chew. You start ruminating over those things. You start chewing the cud over your life, and it's like when you reach those bad experiences, you feel the pain all over again. You feel the loss, you feel the disappointment, as if it is happening today. It is as fresh in the mind as it happened 10 years ago. You probably were fired in your job, and despite working so hard, and you are left at a place of feeling bitter, especially when you know that there were guys who never used to do as much, and they're still there. And here you are struggling. Those are not good things. And when you reflect about them, you feel the bitterness all over again. And the sad bit of it is that some of these things you keep telling yourself so many times. And you keep talking about them. You keep sharing with those who are, readily available to hear. Because sometimes we tell people our stories, and some of them are those relating to pain, are those relating to disappointment. And people are listening and they're like, oh yeah, it happened, I'm sorry. Yeah, that boss ought not to have fired you. Yeah, you used to do very well. I mean, that is a bad person, and for an hour or two, you're just reminiscing over that, and you are all there trying to sort of reabsorb the whole pain just once again. And the question is that past haunting your present? And to what extent is it haunting? I was just reflecting the other day about the story of Lot, and when God asked him to leave, and he was there living with a wife, and they were told not to look back, as Sodom and Gomorrah were being destroyed with fire. And what happened when Lot's wife looked back? And I think that is something that we can reflect about today, that what happens when we keep looking back, when we keep revisiting our history, when we keep reliving our past, what happens? Like Lot's wife, we freeze. She froze and became a pile of salt, as the Bible reckons, but probably I don't know what we are becoming, whether it's salt or mud or a rock. But for me, the action of freezing is what is important and speaking to us today. That as we keep revisiting that past, and emotionally so, there's a chance that we freeze, and we freeze to an extent that we are no longer able to make decisions relating to certain areas of our life with a sober mind, because the pain of yesterday is still haunting us today. When you remember how you went through a divorce, for example, that pain is too much. You carry it into your current relationships, for example. And as you do that, that pain makes you not make sober decisions in your current relationship. As you carry the pain of yesterday, of say probably being fired from your job, that pain becomes so much that you keep wondering whether in the next one you're going to be fired like you were fired in the previous workplace. As you think about mistakes that you did, you start doubting your ability to make the right decision, because you made very many wrong decisions in the past, and that keeps haunting you, and you're not able to make sober decisions that are able to progress your life to where you would want to be. And sometimes you're even afraid of making the decisions altogether, because when you made those decisions in the past, they affected you in a very negative way, or you failed terribly and publicly so, and you're not so sure how you're going to progress. And therefore, you imagine that not making the decision at all is going to shelve you from the pain of yesterday. the pain of getting into a new relationship, the pain of starting a new business, or the pain of just having a new experience altogether. And how does it even then compromise your future? Because in life, for sure, there's no one who can give you an opportunity to go back to yesterday. As I started, I said, if I was given an opportunity to go back to my yesterday, there are many decisions that I made, probably in my youth, that were wrong, and I regret them. I am not proud of them. There are things that I have done, and I'm sure even you, there are things that you have done in your life that you're not proud about. And if you knew then that you'd get an opportunity to go back and correct, I'm sure you'd go back and do it. But reminiscing and thinking about your past and keeping looking back can only freeze you, can only make you psychologically stuck in a place of no movement at all, because it makes you become indecisive, become hesitant, fear doing anything or taking action in whatever direction you'd want your life to go. And in so doing, you become so afraid to an extent that you're not able to move. And if you look at life, God gives us the power of the present. The power of the present is what we have at the moment. The past is certainly nothing that you can do about it. You can regret about it. You can cry about it. You can sob about it. You can even tell as many people about your sad, sorry story of the past. But certainly there's nothing you can do about it because it's already past. And the future is something that you're going to build starting now. Meaning that the decisions that you're able to make today, they are certainly going to impact your life today going forward into the future. And you just want to be in a place where you are looking at the current moment and try to be as sober-minded as possible, to be able to make the right decisions, and decisions that are going to push you to the next level of excellence. And as I'm talking about this, I'm thinking about all the goals that we have as human beings, things that we have decided we are going to do in all our spheres of life. We have decided, for example, we want to go into business. We have decided we probably want a promotion in our jobs. We have decided that we are going to work hard and finish that book that we've been writing for a long time. We have decided, for example, that we are going to relate with the people that we love in a more warmer, better way. There are goals that we can create, even just connecting with our maker in a better way. And all these things, we can fashion them and we can put them in writing. We can write monthly or yearly goals and put them on paper. But until we are able to overcome all the fears that come with what we have done in the past, sometimes we are not able to tackle those things. And because of doing that, we are stuck in a place of fear. We are stuck in a place of not making decisions, or we are fearful of making the actions that we need to take in the right direction. And therefore, our future becomes more or less like our yesterday. Because as they say, if you keep on doing the same things, then you end up, achieving the same results. And if we keep on doing the things that we probably did yesterday, then there's a chance that our life will be a copycat of what yesterday looks like. There's one of my best philosophical thinkers, the late Jim Rohn, who said, 5 years from today, we shall surely arrive. And the question is where? Where will you be arriving in 5 years, for example? And how will what you have done in the past affect where you want to go? 5 years from now, we shall surely arrive. But the question is where? And where would you want to arrive? And how do you work out your past so that it doesn't become a hindrance? And talking about that past, it's not just the bitter past that can affect you. Sometimes we have very good breaks in our life. We excel in our career. We are globe-trotting all over the world. We are earning 6 figures, and we are all excited about that life. But sometimes that life comes to an end at some point. And we are not able to move on because we are still reminiscing about the good old days when we were earning those six-figure salaries. We are still reminiscing about when we were in Canada, or when we were in this other country, when we were in Lagos, or whatever country you have traveled. And you're all excited about that. And your mind keeps on going to the good, nice past because it is safer that way, especially if your current is not or has not been able to match where you have been in the past. What I'm saying is that even the past, good past, can be a roadblock to where you want to go. That the good can be the enemy of best, of where you'd want to be tomorrow. Meaning that you can sit and reminisce not just about the bad, but just the nice experiences. And they make you feel nice. They give you a nice high. They make you, they make you be in a good place of, wow, I really loved what we were doing that time. Yeah, and you sit with friends. Yeah, you guys, you remember when we went for this vacation, we surely had a ball when we had this experience. And yet, you are not working towards creating other better experiences into the future. That means you are just thinking of the best or the good experiences that you had in the past, but you're not working very hard to ensure that in the future, if you had this vacation that was this colorful or this good, then it's going to be even like 10 times bigger, if that is what it is that you'd want. That if your relationship was flourishing yesterday, you're not just thinking about the yesterday that was good and getting stuck there. You're thinking about how can I create my relationship to be in a better and best place into the future. But let me talk about the negative experiences, because I think the feelings of shame, guilt, things that could have gone this way, but they went haywire on us. We are ashamed and embarrassed, especially things that we did that failed, and people knew they have failed. Sometimes I look at relationships, for example, because I think people will get to know when you get into a relationship. And when you're out of that relationship, people will always quickly get to know. And sometimes people fear. They really, really fear how that failure is going to affect them. And sometimes you realize that because that past relationship did not work well, you keep on bringing that those negative feelings. Oh, he cheated on me, for example. And that becomes like what you keep on looking in the new partner, because you are so wronged. And obviously you are. I'm not saying there's anything that can justify, but you feel so wrong. You feel so wronged that you are trying to look for all sorts of signs. Immediately you start dating a new person. I think many of those things happen to many of us. Because you started a business and it failed, people knew, oh, she started with a lot of vishindo and, everything went bad. Now you are afraid. What if I start a second business? And what it fails, what will happen? And because of those negative feelings, you keep hesitating making decisions into the future. And because you're not making the right decisions, then it means you're not taking the right action. And as a result, you keep getting stuck to where you'd want to be. One of the key things that I would want to reflect on is also how we get to forgive ourselves for what we have done in the past that we are not so proud about. If you look at your life and you're not happy about certain things that you did in the past, and you even wish that people, or you're happy that people don't even know about those things, that they are still private somewhere in your heart, sometimes it is just good for you to forgive yourself. For you to say, okay, Mukami, you messed up big time, and you obviously are not even proud of yourself, leave alone other people being proud of you. And you look back and say, do I keep on crying because I messed up? Do I keep hurting because I messed up? Do I keep blaming myself because I messed up? Do I keep crying because I messed up? That cannot be it. You just have to reach a place when you say, okay, Miriam, you messed up big time, and you just now have to pick up the pieces and move on. you have to sweep off the bitterness. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but that realization that, yes, I made the wrong decision. Yes, the consequences were phenomenally bad. You went into this, it did not work. Okay, fine. Are you going to get stuck there? Are you going to keep crying? Are you going to keep beating yourself because you did not do the right thing or did not follow through on your values? You messed up? No. I think it is a call on ourselves to sit back and say, okay, we made the wrong decisions. We took the wrong actions. But if we knew better, then we would have done better. We probably did what we did because we were limited in one or another. We were limited in values. Maybe probably that's why we fell into the wrong relationship. We had limitations in terms of maybe self-appreciation. That's why we got ourselves into a place of, trying to seek that appreciation and maybe in the wrong way. We failed in business simply because we did not have the experience. And we were conned, maybe because we were not vigilant and we were naive. So we just have to go back to our lives and say, audit and say, okay, things did not work out well. We messed up in one or another. There are things we did that we are not so proud about, and we forgive ourselves. And we say, if you knew better, Mukami, probably would have done better. And you have a second opportunity, because they say every time you get to wake up, you get a brand new 24 hours to be able to make a difference, to be able to create a better life than you had yesterday, to be able to revisit your life afresh and to forget about what did not work and start working on something fresh that can lift your spirits and that can lift your life to higher levels of excellence. And for self-forgiveness is really important, because sometimes we expect other people to forgive us. We even expect God to forgive us, but we have not forgiven ourselves. We have to say, we have to love us enough to say we did not do the right thing. And probably we are going to invest in doing better into the future. But for the moment, we look back and say we forgive ourselves and we quickly move on. One of the key things in forgiving yourself and forgetting the past is taking responsibility. And when I talk about taking responsibility, I mean sometimes we go about life blaming situations, blaming circumstances, blaming other people. We justify our actions on the account of other people. We tell ourselves we did what we did because other people enabled, or other people did not leave us with any choice. And therefore, that is why we are where we are. When we fail, for example, in a relationship, we never come to a place of asking ourselves, apart from being offended by the other party, what was our contribution? Did we do everything angelically well? Or there are some things that we also did and we're not so proud about? And just saying, yes, I did it, and owning up to that. I think that is a good place to start when it comes to healing and self-forgiveness. Taking responsibility and saying, in my life, I'm where I am because I have done everything that I can say I have results for today. And if there's somebody who said, we are all self-made, and it is only successful people who will admit that. We are all self-made. If you're not doing so well, it is because you have made yourself that way. And I think that is the harsh reality of life. And if you're doing very well, obviously, I'm sure you'll be giving yourself a lot of credit for where you are. But taking responsibility is telling yourself you are where you are because you brought yourself to that place. And if it is not a good place, then creating and fashioning a plan and designing your life differently. Saying, I'm now going to make decisions that are going to move me from where I am to where I would want to be. The other thing is that you also have to forgive other people. Sometimes you sit with people and you really run through some of the experiences that they have gone. And I know some of those experiences could be harrowing, They are experiences that you wouldn't wish on anyone. There are things that have happened to people and you listen to their story and you wonder, people who are taken advantage of, for example, when they were young. And today they are here. It was not anything of their making. They probably were not responsible for the action that happened to them. I'm not saying anyone has has a responsibility over things like those. But you just have also to ask yourself, will carrying bitterness about this particular person who offended me, is it going to help me positively push into the future? Will looking at a boss, for example, who was not fair to me, for example, make me a better person into the future? And carrying that burden, will that continue to give me the energy that I require? Or thinking about somebody who took advantage of me when I was young, for example, is that going to give me the impetus to move on? And then realizing that those people were responsible for their action, but that action happened to have been on you. Is there anything that you can do about it? No. Can you go back and correct that? No. But you can forgive them. Forgive them because you owe it to yourself to forgive them. And I'm saying this because sometimes we carry a lot of burden and not realizing that when we forgive other people who offended us, actually it is us who are actually liberating ourselves. I've come to realize that in life, it is easy to go about feeling wronged. It is easy to go about life feeling very unfortunate to have been in certain situations. It is easy to go about blaming yourself and blaming other people, feeling bitter and negative. I think those are like the weeds that they don't take a lot of effort to grow. They just naturally have to grow, or they'll just naturally grow. But it takes a lot of conscious effort, a lot of deliberateness for us to be able to say, Miriam, I'm taking responsibility of my life. I forgive me, I forgive those who wronged me, and I'm moving on. And having the courage to move on, not because you are assured of what the future will look like, but the courage to leave the past where it should be. Again, it is Jim Rohn who said, the past should just be the past. It should be a school, not a place where you reside. A place where you learn from. A place where you look back and say, if I knew better then, I would have done better. That I am learning patience from this past. I'm learning to be more, to have my antennas out so that I'm not taken advantage of, for example. I'm learning not to be naive so that people don't take advantage of, maybe probably in business or con me in whatever situation. Those are things that you can ask yourself, you can learn from. I'm learning not to be bitter, for example, because the moment you carry bitterness, and actually I think studies are showing that people are carrying a lot of stress, they're carrying a lot of bitterness, and as a result, that is putting disease into their body. Because so many things have happened in your life, you feel so wronged, you harbor all that bitterness in your body, and the body starts giving in. And probably it's also a good thing to realize that the moment we start downloading those baggages, that we are doing ourselves a favor. Even when we forgive other people who probably do not even deserve to be forgiven, we are doing ourselves a huge favor. And also realizing that when you let go of that past, you're letting go because you have God. And sometimes it is interesting when you think about it, that if you know that God has your back, that in your human weakness, you can rely on God to pick you up, to take you to a place of higher level, then you will feel more confident to leave that place where you are. You'll feel more confident to let go of what is you're harboring in your mind. And talking about that, I came across a story that I thought was quite interesting. The story is narrated of a mountaineer who, would take on one mountain after another. And thank you for all those who are watching. And as they took on one mountain after the other, they became more confident. And, sometimes you start out in groups. Sometimes you're there taking on a mountain with a group of people because you feel you need the morale, the courage. But as you scale many more mountains, you become more confident to be on your own. And the story is told of this mountaineer who took on this mountain. And as they took on this mountain on this particular day, evening reached when they were still climbing. And as they were climbing or going up that mountain, it became a bit windy, stormy, and the weather became really quite unbearable. And because it was also getting dark, they found themselves at a place of really at a place of worry, because now things were not really well, or the things were not moving on well. The weather was not cooperating. It was getting dark. The storm was getting heavier, and the steep was still quite high. So they were not in a place where they could sort of set up camp and be able to rest for the evening. And as he was struggling, or as this mountaineer was struggling to go up this mountain in this evening, dark, stormy weather, something quite tremendous happened. That he was blown by the wind so hard that he let go of the rope that he was holding on to. And when he let go, he started coming tumbling down. And of course, you can start imagining that this is a climb that he had taken like almost a full day to climb. So it was quite high up. And as he was coming down, and he was worried that he was going to fall somewhere, probably in a third and shatter into pieces, he started praying and was asking God, please help me. I wouldn't want to die this way. And the mountaineer was coming tumbling down at a very high speed, trying to, move and try to see where he could get his hands, or whether he could get a hold of something and probably have his life saved. And the story is narrated that when he was busy trying to look for something that he could hold on to, he grasped, or he touched a branch, and quickly he felt, God has answered my prayer. And he got hold of this branch, and he was very excited and thankful that finally he was not going to crash down and probably die and be left in a place of lifelessness, if I may say. And when he was holding on to that branch, it was now very dark and he could hardly see anything. And he started praying, and he was telling God, please, I beg you, do not let me freeze here to death in this cold night. Thank you for saving my life, but do not let me die here. And here he was dangling, holding on to this branch and, feeling very afraid. I can imagine the place where he was. And as he was seated or holding on to that branch, dangling there, he again started praying and asking God, kindly, I beg you, save my life. Do not let me die here of a cold night, because suddenly it was very cold, and he was worried that if he dangled there, even he would lack energy and probably let go. And as he was there busy praying and asking God for mercy to be rescued, he heard a small still voice telling him, let go. And you can imagine, here you are, you've come there tumbling down all the way from the mountaintop, and almost mountaintop, and you are at a place where you're feeling a bit secure because you have something you're holding on to. But now there's this still voice telling you, drop it or let go. And the man thought, okay, maybe my mind is playing games with me. So he continued praying and asking God, please rescue me. Please send me help. Please do not let me die in the coldness of the night that is ahead. And as he continued holding on to that branch with all his dear life and energy and praying, he heard a second voice telling him, let go. And the story narrates that the following morning, that man was found dangling on a branch, dead 3 feet from the ground. It is amazing that if he had let go, He was just 3 feet from the ground. He would have rescued himself. He probably would have run for safety. But because he did not let go, he died just 3 feet from the ground. And probably the lesson that we can gather from this is that probably God is also speaking to us that with all the past that is checkered with a lot of pain, bitterness, shame, all the negative emotions that you can think about, that it is time we let go. Let go because we let go not because it is easy, but because God has our back. That there is a higher power that can absorb the shock of letting go. That despite how difficult it is to forgive ourselves and to forgive other people, that we can let loose of our past and rely on God as we try to co-create a better future for ourselves together with God. Because I believe we are co-creators with God. That as God is enabling us and giving us the energy and life every day, we have a responsibility now to wake up and also fashion the life that we want for ourselves. I'm getting comments. I'm seeing my guys saying forgiving others carries the healing power. Believe that you can still have a fresh start despite the stage of life that we are in, and it will revive life in our dreams, opening a new chapter. Thank you so much, Mwigai. Thanks so much, Jendinya. I can see you just tuned in. Karibu sana. Today we were talking about the whole aspect of, is your past haunting your present and compromising your future? Are your past relationships haunting your present ones and compromising your future ones? Are your past mistakes haunting your current life and compromising the kind of iconic life that you'd want to design for yourself? And looking at your life, you can say self-audit. And self-audit means, just going through your life and asking yourself very, very reflective questions. Where have I been? What experiences have I gone through? And what emotional state have those experiences left me in? Those that have left you happy, how can I create more of those? Those that have left you uplifted and appreciated and in a place of joy and peace, how can I recreate those so that I can have many more of those? Because God created us so that we can have a life and have it in abundance. But those that have left us in a place of bitterness, shame, guilt, disappointment, embarrassment, those that have made us get ridiculed, those that have made us fail and fail miserably and publicly, what lessons can I learn from those so that I can avoid the mistakes that I have made and so that I can make better decisions that are going to empower me into the future? How can I forgive what I have to forgive, including myself, including other people, probably who do not deserve forgiveness? Probably they have not even asked for it, they don't regret it, they are not even sorry that they did whatever it is that they did to you. How can I forgive them? Not for their sake, but for my sake. And how can I forgive myself? In a nice, self-loving way. How can I look at myself in the mirror and say, Mukami or Miriam, you're created in a wonderful way. And you deserve better into the future. And the past is really harboring that future that you'd want to create. And really tell God to enable you to forgive yourself. And so that you're in a place of being sober, to be able to make better decisions into the future. And using the past as a school, not a place to reside in, not setting camp in your past, whether it is good old days that you keep reminiscing about, whether it is days of, alinifanyia, he did this to me, imagine, and telling the whole story 10 times over in your day, and having experienced the emotional turmoil all over. Because I think sometimes in our lives, we can really tell our sob stories and really, there are people who are out there who listen to us. And of course, I'm sure they're just trying to love on us. And as they are loving on us, they probably are encouraging us to keep residing in our past. And how can also we help other people to come out of their past? And I'm saying this because we are all social in nature. We have relationships. We have relationships in our workplaces. We have relationships in our residential areas where we stay. We have all sorts of relationships, even in our families. How can we also reach out to other people who we think are residing in the past and sort of give them a wake-up call? That when they start telling us of the bitterness and with everything, how can we help them to come out of that so that they also stop making us go and reflecting on our past and hating the things that we did wrong and getting to worry because we fear that we may end up making the same old mistakes that we did in the past. The truth of the matter is, and I think that is a reality check, and probably it's a reality check that never hits us the way it should. We can never have an opportunity to go back to the past. We can never have the opportunity to go and correct the wrongs that we did in the past. And not just the wrongs that we did for ourselves, even the wrongs that we did to others. Sometimes we wrong other people, and we wrong them in a bad way. We probably are the cause of the hurt that is hurting them. And we may not be able to go and undo that. And God is giving us also an opportunity to be able to call people we've wronged and tell them, I forgive you. People who you lent money, for example, and probably you denied yourself a lot for you to be able to be in a place to lend them money. And they never paid back. And, or you're the one who never paid back. And you've been sitting around, not paying and not worrying and not caring. You probably could be the cause of somebody's hurt. You abuse them in one way or another, physically, even verbally or emotionally. You probably were given a responsibility of having oversight over a certain thing, and you do not treat people well. And maybe in one or another that haunts you, and maybe probably you have an opportunity to call those people and tell them, forgive me. Maybe if I knew better, I would do better. In a relationship, you messed up or you goofed in a big way, and because of that, that relationship may be ended in a bad way, and you can go back and tell them, I take responsibility for hurting you so much and seeking forgiveness. Because in this life, as you let go, you also have to empower yourself with tools that are going to empower you. And apart from self-forgiveness, even seeking forgiveness from others is a good tool to use. Knowing that if other people forgive you, they no longer hold a grudge against you, then it becomes easier for you to forgive yourself. So if you have caused immense hurt in somebody's life, you have treated them badly in whatever relationship or capacity that you've related with them, I think we have an opportunity to ask them for forgiveness. But above all, knowing that God has our back, and I think that for me is really what is empowering. Knowing that it is easy for a human being to behave in a certain way, but God ultimately is able to override and to overwrite all our mistakes. That as we let go, we are letting go because we are letting God. That He has power over everything, and that He can correct our path and make us move in the right direction away from where we have been in the past. And that becomes very empowering, knowing that you're letting go of your past so that you let God. And as you let God, it's knowing that letting go is all about surrender. It is all about that mountaineering guy almost dying, being told to let go of the branch, despite knowing that that is a lifeline, just letting go because he knows that the voice that is telling him to let go has power to provide other solutions. And in your life then, as we let go of all these things, we know that there's God who can give us better alternatives in future. And one of the things that I can say is that negative emotions have a way of blinding our clarity. our mental clarity to see the future, our mental clarity to be able to make decisions around our destiny, our mental clarity to be able to make and design the life that we would want. When we are all crowded up with so many things that we have in our past, there's a chance that we are not able to create the future that we would want for ourselves. That the whole aspect of bitterness, shame, disappointment, embarrassment can make us become blinded as to where we are going and deny us the opportunity to fashion the kind of life that we would want to create for ourselves. So the call on us today is to go back to our closets and audit ourselves and ask, what do we have in this past of ours? What have we done that we are not proud about? And how do we forgive ourselves? How do we forgive others? And how do we use that past not as a place to reside in and to keep talking about, to keep regurgitating, to keep ruminating over, but to really say we did what we did because of their limited, say, amount of vision that we had at that particular point, and decide that our future is going to be better because we have learned better, because we have carried the lessons from our past, not because we have carried the whole baggage of the past, but the lessons from that past to be able to empower us. Thank you so much. I feel empowered. This is not scripted, so if I'm not flowing well, it's just my mental flow that is coming from me to you, and it is coming from a place of deep authenticity, deep honesty, trying to think about all the things that we all go through as human beings, things that make us not lift ourselves to a place of excellence because not because we are all baggaged and full of yesterday's luggage. And it is my hope and prayer that you're going to look at your past and let go of that past and let God take more control of your life, even as you co-create a better future for yourself. Healing yourself of the past. If you need to see a counselor, I'm not a counselor myself, but if you really feel that whatever baggage you have in the past is too much, you probably may not be able to work it out on your own, feel free to look for help, whatever help you may need. But it is good to know that God has given us a lot of energy, a lot of power, a lot of mental tenacity to be able to overcome whatever it is that we desire to overcome. And if your past has not been what you would have loved it to be, you can start creating a future that you will be proud of by letting go of that past, just picking the lessons and moving out of that residency of the past and just moving on. May God bless you. It has been quite nice sharing this. Is your past haunting your present and compromising your future? It is my hope and prayer that your future will be better because you've been here. It is my hope and prayer that you're going to talk to other people who you think their past is compromising where they should be. It is my hope and prayer that you're going to look at your life with more clarity, with more excitement, and you're going to let God more take control of your life, even as you let go of your past baggages, past burdens, past psychological discomforts, so that you're able to leap into your future. This is Make It Happen series. I'm going to do a couple of these videos that I think are going to empower you and I to be able to move to a better place. It has been a pleasure to meet you once again. I'll be coming live every Saturday at 11. If you're able to make it, kindly do. Those who will see this video later, may God bless you as well. And I really appreciate even the love and all the comments that I'm getting. I can see some that are trickling in. May God bless you. I'm not doing this so that I can get a lot of love from you. I'm doing this because I feel that we can empower each other to move from where we are to the next place of excellence and claim the life that God desired for us. that we are able to manifest the potential that God has put in us, and that we are able to sit in a place of influence, positively influencing ourselves into the direction of our dreams, but also in the direction of influencing other people in the direction of their dreams as well. Kindly follow me on Facebook. It's Mukami Chege. Sorry about that. It's Mukami Chege. Kindly follow me on Instagram, Mukami Chege. On YouTube, I have a couple of empowering videos as well on YouTube. Kindly go to my YouTube page and like, subscribe, share the videos as well. It's Mukami Chege. And Twitter, I'm also Mukami Chege. It is such a great pleasure to meet you every week. Talk to me, DM me on questions, lessons, things that you think we can talk about, that you think are important to your life and to my life, and things that you think we can empower us through this kind of conversation, so that every day we become better people, and every day we move closer to the kind of life that we desire to have. May God bless you. It has been such a pleasure. Yes, thank you so much for all your love. I really appreciate. Share this video, write comments, you know, and keep sharing what your thoughts are, topics that you think we can share into the future. I'm sure God will bless us and we'll have a good time. May God bless you once again. It has been such a pleasure meeting you, and I look forward to meeting you online, and also meeting you next week, God willing, on Saturday at 11 o'clock. Thank you.